Good day everyone. So today we will be covering the presentation of the role of attribution on customer satisfaction. This presentation is based on a journal by Michael Zeros and Vikas Mittal. So what we are going to cover today is the definition of role of attribution and also customer satisfaction, followed by 2 case studies and hypothesis as well as summary of the whole journal. Alright, so what is customer satisfaction? Number 1, customer is the boss and they are always right, as you can see. They can fire anybody in the company, including the chairman, right up to the bottom staff. So you should never ignore the customer satisfaction. There are dozens of factors that contribute to the success of failure or business of customer satisfaction. It's important to track this factor. So how many factors do you have on this customer satisfaction? So I'll just cover the main ones, alright? A loyal customer is always a treasure. You should keep them and hide them from the world. They can stop being your clients in a heartbeat. Alright? And moving on, it's all about money too. And customer satisfaction is a factor that helps you stand out of the competition, and great customer experience take your brand places. Basically, your customer can be your brand ambassadors. So basically, that's what customer satisfaction is all about. And moving on, introduction and definition of customers. I've already covered the definition of customer services. So there are 7 models that covers that measures customer satisfaction. So what are those? There are a few: the expectation, disconfirmation model, norms model, multiple process model, etc. So today we are going to cover the attribution model. So what is attribution model? My housemate will cover the definition of the attribution model in the next slides.
Okay, a very good day. I'm Adam from Group 3. Basically, today we'll be talking about the attribution theory and explain why some consumer might feel very angry or dissatisfied with a certain negative event, while others might not be as dissatisfied. So an example that I'd like to show is during the Johor toxic spillage incident, whether we should or should not blame the government. We have to look into different perspectives and different factors. We have to evaluate we have to evaluate the locus of control. Does the government have any internal control over the incident? So in this case, there is sufficient law and regulations. However, there is a little bit lack of enforcement. Therefore, people might put the blame on the government. Secondly, we have to look at if this thing is something which reoccurring and the frequency of happening, or in terms of attribution theory is called stability. So as we know, toxic spillage is very constantly happening in Malaysia, and this kind of stability adds onto the dissatisfaction. So on the next slide, we would like to look into the hypothesis of this article, which states that responsibility attributions is stronger, meaning more negative, when the outcome is more stable, meaning more frequently occurred. So thank you very much. We'll look into other case studies from my team members. Thank you.
So, from the article that we read, hypothesis from the article is the attribution of stability moderate the relationship between disconfirmation and satisfaction. Specifically, the moderating effect of responsibility attribution is stronger when the experienced outcome is attributed to an unstable cause, but weaker when it is attributed to an unstable cause.
Hi everyone, and a very good day. I'm Wafiq, and I'll be representing the first case study that related to the article. It's about the most flopped Hollywood film in 2018, which is Robin Hood. Which this film is directed by the Otto Bathurst and produced by the famous Leonardo DiCaprio. And this film is cost around 100 million, which is reported by the Business Insider. And the collection is not what they are expected, which reported they only collect around 73 million globally, in which they are spent 7.9 millions on 1079 TV ads, commercial news, and also newspaper, and etc. And this is related to the expectation, this confirmation model, that the result doesn't meet the expectation in with all those ads, teaser, and including its premium. In an interview, Otto says that this film is not nearly to the legendary fairy tale story that has been told us before, and the version they have made have been modernized, suits to the new generations. After the premiere, one of the popular columnists at Showbiz 411 says that Otto Bathurst doesn't have a feature film experience, that which this statement confirmed that from the panel A, responsibility, performance, and stability can affect satisfaction or dissatisfaction directly without any mention of any role of attribution. And next, I will hand over to Najwa to present the dissatisfaction of the viewers.
Okay, we will look at the consumer satisfaction based on this movie, meaning to say that those who had watched and then experienced the movie. So roughly we have 3 here, from Common Sense Media, Rolling Stone, and then Washington Post. I wouldn't go through all, but instead you can see from the review it's actually giving a negative review. For example, it's certainly kind of terrible, from the lazy writing to the crummy and confusing action scenes. You'd be better off remembering not to waste your cash on this toxic Thanksgiving turkey. So these 3 negative reviews actually expressing their dissatisfaction towards the movie. And actually we can conclude that there are 3 reasons that may cause Robin Hood film fail. Firstly, on the inexperienced film director, which also shows a lazy action movie cliche ever written by a producer. And secondly, the role of legendary fairy tale story Robin Hood is being modernized. Okay, so we were so used to the previous characters and then the storylines built to portray who is Robin Hood, and this movie is actually otherwise. So perhaps that could lead to why it failed. And thirdly, the post-consumption that leads to word of mouth, referenced by the expectation of the pre-consumption, such as trailer. Meaning to say that maybe first you watch the trailer and then you have this certain expectation, but then after you watched it and then it couldn't meet your expectation, so that leads to your dissatisfaction towards the movie.
Hi, I'll be representing the second case study that is related to the journal that we have read, and I'll be using a simple real-life example to describe how the role of attribution can have impact on customer satisfaction. So in this case study, there will be 2 scenarios, and I'll be explaining about the first scenario on customer satisfaction. Right, assuming that we are subscribing to Unify, a high-speed internet broadband provider. In other words, we are customers of Telecom Malaysia. Right, and then internet speed, internet connectivity, internet connection stability are some of the most important criteria that determine the customer satisfaction towards the service provided by the Telecom Malaysia. Right. Malaysia is a very special country. Unlike other countries that has got 4 seasons, Malaysia has got only 2 seasons. The first season is going to be a hot season, which is what we are currently experiencing right now. And the second season is going to be a raining season. And during this raining season, usually there will be a lot of thunderstorm everywhere. Right. So one fine day, due to bad luck, the thunderstorm has hit and damaged one of the telecom cables. and that has causes the internet connection to be down, not stable for a week, and this is what we call as negative disconfirmation. So as a customer of Unify or as a customer to Telecom Malaysia, obviously you will feel sad, you will feel disappointed, but would you blame and hold Telecom responsible for that? So most of the people will say no. Why? It's because that all of us know that this happened due to accident, and this accident is something that's uncontrollable by Telecom Malaysia. So again, this relates back to the attribution model, whereby the damage caused by the thunderstorm is an unstable cause. That's right. Unstable cause is basically unpredictable and happen due to bad luck. Right. And in this case, Telecom Malaysia will not be responsible for negative disconfirmation, which means the negative disconfirmation occurs due to non-company related factors. So as a summary, when the outcome is attributed to an unstable cause, it is most likely deemed to be transitory, which is not permanently and usually will have a weaker impact to customer satisfaction. Next, I would like to pass to my team to present the same case but with different scenario, and you will see the impact towards customer satisfaction. You will see a different impact towards customer satisfaction.
Hi, I will be explaining the second scenario of being a unified customer. Similar with the previous scenario, we are experiencing internet connection was down and unstable for a week. It is a negative disconfirmation which the internet speed is well below the expected high-speed internet. The difference is the cost of slow internet speed. In this scenario, it is due to the slow maintenance work which take longer than expected. From my personal experience, I called the Telecom Malaysia customer service to understand the situation, and I was told that the expected time of completion for maintenance is 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. I called again and I was told the expected completion time was delayed to 4 p.m. I was so frustrated and have the intention to terminate the Unify, but I can't because there is no alternative. From the scenario above, will you blame and hold Telecom Malaysia responsible? Yes, we will, because the Telecom Malaysia is perceived to be responsible to the outcome or our negative disconfirmation, and the cost maintenance is stable, and in this scenario, the dissatisfaction is stronger compared to thunderstorm scenario. In summary, when the cost of experience outcome is seen as stable, it is likely to have stronger impact on satisfaction. Now I pass to my team for the conclusion.
Now we have come to the final part of the presentation, which is the summary and conclusion. From the beginning of the presentation, we already understand that the article is investigating the role of this confirmation together with responsibility and stability attributions to satisfaction. The research model used is based on the valence expectancy framework, which finds that this confirmation and attribution, which are responsibility and stability, impact satisfaction in a complex manner. We can also understand that this confirmation and responsibility determines the valence part of the framework, while stability makes up the expectancy component of the satisfaction equation. All this prove that the interaction pattern occurs between this confirmation and attribution is consistent with the valence expectancy framework as stated by Oliver 1974, Thies 1981, and Vroom 1964. It is also consistent with the past studies of three-way interaction between stability, responsibility, and this confirmation. The finding in this article has confirmed the past studies and provides a contribution to the knowledge in the satisfaction study. As for the illustration purposes, my colleague will continue the presentation with the diagram on the interaction patterns.
About panel A, responsibility, disconfirmation, and stability all directly influence satisfaction and the same way of interaction. that is, responsibility influence satisfaction, and disconfirmation influence satisfaction, and stability influence satisfaction. However, these three attributes only directly influence customer satisfaction, and there is no interaction among each other. In modern B, responsibility, disconfirmation, and stability not only directly influence the satisfaction, but it can also be influenced indirectly as well. For instance, disconfirmation will directly influence satisfaction, but it can be moderated by responsibility and stability's attribution. Therefore, this model is a two-way interaction between responsibility and disconfirmation, and stability and disconfirmation, but no three-way interaction. Panel A is a simple main effects model, or panel B is a model with a two-way interactions. It notes capturing the complex pattern of the results. Plus, it is those two models that underline most of research examining attributions and satisfaction. Move to the next slide. Model C is a three-way interaction model where the satisfaction is directly affected by disconfirmation and responsibility. But at the same time, responsibility also affects disconfirmation. So there are two ways of interactions. Then, in this model, stability does not directly affect satisfaction, but stability affects responsibility, and responsibility affects disconfirmation, and finally, disconfirmation affects satisfaction. So basically, it is a three-way interaction model. The pattern shows in panel C portrays the valence expectancy framework that works as a basis to understand the way in which disconfirmation and attribution affect satisfaction. In this article, R-square value is used to prove the discussion. We can say the table. Model A has an R-square value of 54%, and the model B is 60%, the model C is 63%. Model C has the highest R-square value, which means it is consistent with the expectancy part of the model. As a conclusion, model C is the most preferred model to explain the role of attribution in customer satisfaction.